Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the Rock for Recovery virtual event. My name is Brenda, and I'm a member of the Substance Misuse Task Force. I've been part of the task force for about the last 5 years. As you've been following us this month, I hope you've been seeing agency spotlights who provide recovery and support services and following our weekly testimonials from individuals in recovery. Please remember next week is our candlelight vigil, and that's Wednesday, October 28th at 7 p.m. Tonight, I'm joined by Corey, who's going to share some of his journey with us in recovery. So hi, Corey, thanks for joining us.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So we're just gonna get started and I'm gonna ask you some questions. So can you just kind of start telling me about how old you were when you first started using?
Yeah, I was 22, 23, about the age. So kind of got through school and whatnot. I felt like unscathed, but definitely made up for the missed time in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, so roughly how old are you now?
Ooh, I'm 33.
Got it. So like as I said before, we're talking about people in recovery. So you are in recovery yourself, correct?
I am. Yes, I am.
And what led you to seek out treatment to get you into recovery this last time?
I'm a father of six, so just all the missed stuff over the years. I was pretty conscious of not having them around as much as possible when I was, using under the influence. So it just started being where I was missing so much, and basically for time that I can't remember half the time anyway. And just wanting to be there and making sure, they don't, as they get older, they don't see me as the dad that was never around, kind of the drunk, druggy dad, and I can be there for them and be a part of their life is the big part, but just be there for any problems they have or the ups and the downs.
Yeah, so your kids were a pretty significant motivator, it sounds like, for you.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. They were without them for I've had the whole nine with the suicide thoughts and the and different occasions and whatnot. So without them, it wouldn't be probably in recovery, and who knows even to here.
So how hard or maybe easy was it for you to find a place to get connected, to get the counseling and get into treatment?
It wasn't as easy. In a lot of that's internal, some of it's external. Internally, you always know you need help, or you want to tell yourself, "Well, I'll change maybe next week," or maybe like on the first of the year. Of course, then you're drinking New Year's night, or you know, those type of things always come up. But once I decided to kind of give it the effort and do it full fledged, it made it a lot easier. The JCC, the counseling center, helped me a lot. It's a lot to do, and if you're not fully fully ready to do it, you just won't. It's really hard to half-ass it and get through anything. So hard up until the point where I kind of made that decision. Then it became like easy because if I was missing things, I felt like incomplete for the day or whatever. Like I need to. Every day is can be a struggle, especially in the beginning. But one leads to two, and you just keep going.
With your recovery journey, what did you find most beneficial? You would reference JCC for counseling. Can you tell me a little bit about what kind of services you received or what services you found were most beneficial?
Yeah. So when I first started groups, like the daily Monday through Thursday, like I hated it, having to get up, go there, and at first, you kind of rebel, so you're not really taking as much as you should at first, or you're like, man, I don't want to read these packets; these are kind of stupid. Or, but like, so I started before COVID, before the big deal, and so I was having to go up. I didn't have a vehicle, so I had to ride the bus. I'd have to ride the bus there. I had to get special medical rides back because it went further than the bus ran. And at first it was kind of like, it's just like a lot. I developed a routine, and like going to those groups really helped me. And the last, I think I was in a group for like 8 months. So I extended a couple of times, but in the beginning I would miss, and then at the end I didn't miss a single thing. Some of it made it easier because of COVID, being able to just get on screen. But
Mhm.
even before that fully, I wasn't missing. I just didn't want to miss because I feel like if I miss and that one day would set me back a week. It really would.
Did you find did you find it difficult to get sobriety? Or like, did you find that you were having some lapses here and there, or what kind of what was your journey with that?
Yeah. So when I was first going to group and stuff, I was still drinking, using a couple other things as well, smoking a lot, um, as well as other things. But then, I mean, through AverHealth. AverHealth's another one that ends up helping. I don't miss there anymore. I would miss that. So it's like you're having to be responsible and be honest because they're gonna know anyway. And that helped me eventually stop. To where in the beginning it was like, well, I'll just drink a day or two, or it was I was drinking every day. Well, then I got down to maybe 5 times a week, 4 times a week. Then I had a period where I would keep getting to almost a week. And then on like that sixth day, I just would break down, like I'd drive past the store. Next thing I know, I'd be buying liquor,
Mhm.
or smoking. I'm around it a lot. It's unfortunately for me and a lot of us right now, it's part of the culture in the
Mhm.
world right now, it seems like. But um, yeah, getting to a point where I could go that full week. That first full week was like my mental block. And as soon as I made that, it's been, I don't want to say easy. I won't say that because I still think about it all the time. And, being around it makes it tough if you are. But it was like once I found my own barrier that I had to get through, like set a little goal because I was never meeting any goals. I never met
Mhm.
any goals. I'd set them and then pretend I didn't set them when I didn't meet them, or lie about it, like no, that wasn't really what I was trying to do. Or, but once I did and was able to go to like the first group and be like, and started having 4 or 5 negative tests, then it's like I don't want to be the one that goes back to having positive tests. I don't,
Yep.
I'm trying to do this for a reason, not go backwards.
So it sounds like providing the urine drug screen and just having that accountability was beneficial to you as well.
Yeah, the accountability factor is huge because if you just, for me, being accountable to only myself wasn't going to help me because after 10 years of it, I can lie to myself and make it sound okay. But you
Mhm.
need them other people. And like I say, at first, it's like quit nagging me. You get tired of it, but they're there for a reason, and you're in that program for a reason. So might as well do it.
So roughly how much sober time do you have right now?
Since July 4th, the weekend
Wow.
of, I think I drank the 5th. But yeah, so it just kind of was like I was getting towards the end of group, and so I mean it's only 3.5 months, I guess. But for me, that's since I've been in my early 20s, I've never had 3.5 weeks, and even not even a week. So um, not gonna say I don't crave and this like that for it, but um, it's like even smelling or something. It just the whole thought of it turns me off right now, and that's I'm happy that it's like that because I never thought that was gonna happen.
Yeah, 3.5 months is definitely something to be proud of. And like you said, throughout most of your adulthood, you couldn't even fathom that that would happen.
No, no, wasn't even an option.
Had you tried treatment prior to this last time?
Um, no, this is I hear stories of how many times people tried treatment, and I think just going back that many times is awesome. For me, this program or whatnot that I'm in was able to kind of work with the initial stumbles and whatnot of us, and I think that's what kept me with it because it wasn't like I got alienated as soon as they were like, "Oh man, you used or you drank." It wasn't like you're done, banish him. It was like, "All right, well, let's work on that so next time you don't." And that really helped me. I've heard of different people in different treatments where you do get that alienation, and people just kind of once you kind of have that first stumble or that failure, then it's really about how the people talk to you after that. For me, like with the counselors and all the with the programs, you want somebody that's going to hold you accountable, be stern, but not also just like lose respect and then toss you to the curb.
Yeah, so it sounds like you had maybe some harm reduction approach where there was some grace of lapses and relapses and continued to keep you in the program to help you get to this sobriety stage that you are striving to have.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for that.
That's great. Um, so thinking about family, you talked a little bit earlier about like how your kids were a big motivator. Um, Having families being supportive of recovery is really important. Um, would you say that that has been a big part of your recovery?
Um, in the last 5 months or so, there's been a lot more support. It wasn't that they weren't supportive. They were just trying to help me and I was just refusing it. Maybe not verbally refusing it, but I just wasn't doing it. I wasn't, I'm the family type guy. I'm at every gathering. I talk to my mom. I'm a mama's boy. I talk to her like every day, and so she was help trying to, not drink in front of me or, give her words of like, you need to stop this and that to where it got to the point where I just stopped going around. And so like their support, I didn't like the way it was coming. Well, now in the last 5 months or whatnot, we actually kind of sat down and had a conversation about like what I think would help me in without changing their lifestyle or anything like that. And it's just been so much more support. And it reminds me of back like when I was in college and stuff like that, the relationship we have now. So we're like I'm talking to her all the time and we're not every time we talk to her, she doesn't have to wonder if I'm under the influence or like, worry about if I'm driving or worry about what I'm doing, who I'm with. It's not, I mean, the people I used to hang around have all been cut out. And some of that's by design and some of it's just because I'm not doing the same stuff that they do anymore. And so the support definitely in the last 5, 6 months has been another motivator for me because I don't want to let them down either. Because they got some bad health issues, and just on top of that, man, you only get so much time with them here.
Mhm.
So I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great that you've been able to have those difficult conversations with your family.
Yeah, they're rough. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to start. Sometimes once you get started, it's okay. But it's like, how do I start this? Like,
Mhm.
hey, I need you to not drink around me if possible, or And they have beers all the time. That's just what they do. But nobody was taking it to the extremes, uh, like I was doing.
Yeah. Um, you have kind of touched a little bit on like how COVID changed some of the recovery for you. Um, would you say that you had to make any major changes? Or it almost sounds like COVID kind of helped you in the sense that you didn't have to jump on that bus and get transportation.
Yeah, definitely partially helped me. It's actually what I've been telling people when because this a common question right now is, how did COVID affect you and what ways? And for me, it did make it easier because I could get on Zoom. But at the same time, I kind of disliked it at first because it became my ritual. If I had group at 4 or 5 at night, I wasn't going to get up and drink at 11 or 12. I'm not going to lie. When COVID first started, I was getting up sometimes and still drinking. I could go to Zoom group without smelling like a brewery. I could, so it had its pros and its cons. Um, a little bit more adjustments for like timing of groups and stuff like that, and getting the packets to us. And some of the stuff is a little more informal, but that's just what it had to be. I think for some people, it actually takes you to a different level of responsibility because it is so easy to just not go. And the next day, you're not going to see that person in person or that group member in person. So it's easy to just be like, no, who are they going to say to me? I won't answer my phone and I don't have to see it. And then with court programs, that's over the phone too. So I think it makes it a lot easier for people to just kind of fall off, if they want to, because there's not that accountability of. I know, like when I mess up or do wrong or missed, I hated going the next day to see like the group or because you always got shit for it and you missed. And most of the time when you miss group, there was probably a reason that you did. It probably wasn't good reason.
Yeah. So if you could give advice to someone who is maybe interested in getting into recovery, um, what would you say to them, or what advice would you give them?
Well, it's kind of broad, but I think for me personally, and I think it's probably a lot of people's problems is it sounds cheesy and corny, but like being true to yourself first, setting that goal and being like, I can do it. And then not, let's say it's a week or two of sobriety. They start has to start somewhere. And then, you're telling people in 2 weeks that you are sober. Well, then let's make sure you are actually sober. Cause I know everybody's done it in this situation. You're telling people you ain't drank in a week or two, or used, and it was yesterday, or it was, it was the last couple days. But once you could get to the point of like holding yourself accountable, then if you can be stern on yourself, then the other people's stuff, it'll eventually start to be where nobody's more hard on me right now than I am. If I mess up, it might mess up a little bit of stuff here and there, but then it like sets me back. And just make the actual commitment to go to the things. Because like I say, I just hated it. I hated going to it. It was stupid. I, didn't like it at all. But once I made the commitment to go, it becomes part of the routine, and then you have something to look forward to, or not want to sit and use and drink. And it's something that you can look forward to, and there's a meaning behind it. And
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight, Corey. I appreciate your time and just sharing some of the journey that you've had through your recovery.
yeah, thanks for having me. Hopefully, just hearing other people sometimes can help, even with, little stuff. And I know I needed help. So sometimes getting some answers and stuff without actually having to ask questions can help.
Absolutely. So yeah, I encourage people to reach out. Resources are on our Facebook page, and they can get connected to treatment, counseling, peer support. So the resources are out there. I encourage you to use them. Thanks for joining us, Corey.
Thank you. Have a good night.